Let's see how it goes this evening for a bank holiday Monday. I did think about doing a quiz or something because it's a bank holiday Monday, but there's so much going on that we need to keep an eye on. They're burying news left, right, and centre. Pun intended, because we will get to Victoria. We will get to Randy Andy and some other bits and pieces. This is very unusual. I'm just trying to very odd. Just let me I was going to talk about Virginia Giuffre, yes. Just trying to make sure that my notes are in order so that I can present it to usual. So welcome to live number 178. Let me just do that a little bit so I'm not so big in your face. Welcome to live number, I think it's 178. Not too sure. I might have to check that a little bit later. Let me have a look at. I understand that both the choir boys, Sister Mary, Mother Mary, and the Cardinal, who's not back. Oh, that was interesting. Let me just do this. There is something going on in Liverpool at the moment that I want to get into and I want to look at. So I need you to be my eyes and ears this evening because it's just breaking. So let's have a look at some of your. Hang on a second. Paulie Galtieri's first in the body of the Kirk this evening. Nice to see you, Paulie. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Good evening, Adrian. Yeah, utter wrong one. Hope you've had a good day. It's been interesting today. Very interesting. Hang on a second. Oy. Right. The minute I started this live, this dropped out. And it's kicked back in again. So I'm. Right, we will do our best this evening for you. How many's in the body of the? Oh, quite a few getting in their feet under the table. So, right, I'm gonna dispense with the niceties as per usual at the beginning of any live. I want to get into what's going on in Liverpool because it's literally broken in the last half hour or so. Thank you, Paulie. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Thank you, Stuart. Well, again, welcome to the body of the Kirk. Evening, Rev. Hope you're fully recovered after all the celebrating yesterday. Not sure what state you'll be in after Wednesday with the amount of Jaeger bombs you'll be having, but sure, you only live once, which is a great Bond movie. Tom Harney says, evening all, as a wrong philosopher once said, for those about to Battenberg, we salute you. Des Ashton, evening, Tom. Des Ashton says, bonsoir, mes amis. A Battenberg in the hand is worth two in the bush. I'd rather have the two in the bush, to be fair, Des. Birds, evidently. And Les Griffiths says, no flatulence in the pews as the Rev holds service. Thank you. You've been warned from the Les. So Kaz was the first to mention it in the comments. Shocking event in Liverpool. Car hits people at Victory Parade. So the technical term is road traffic collision. RTC in Liverpool, Victory Parade. Reports say vehicles hit a number of pedestrians on Water Street. Unknown if any injuries, but I'm sure your eyes are better than mine, and I'm sure you'll tell me in the comments. Man detained at scene. So even if there's an RTC, evidently there's no injury to the driver, as far as we know. But was it Kaz saying, shocking event in Liverpool, car hits people, Victory Parade. I think it was Tocker 69. Driver of the car ploughed through the crowd. Sadly, it's no longer shocking, just predictable, says Les. Prayers for any injured. I concur the sentiments. Thank you, Les. Leeds says it's terror related. Surely I've seen it on Twitter. Well, we learned from Southport, but if I will say this, it could be Look, we know that lots of people are having heart attacks. I'm not trying to defend this at all. But for the moment, and I said this with Southport, we have to be measured and proportionate and appropriate. We can't suddenly start. If you know what the source is and the source is credible, then put the source in one of your comments so that I know, so I can work out while I'm talking to you whether it's a credible source. And if it's a credible source, then we can run with it. But I think a lot of people are saying hello, good evening in the comments in the chat, may not be aware of this this developing story in Liverpool. The Liverpool Footy Club were obviously having a victory parade after their Premiership win this year, and it looks like a car has gone into a whole load of people. 17 injured is Daisy wrong. So it's, as far as I know, coming on air, reports say vehicle hit a number of pedestrians on Water Street. Unknown if any injuries, but I think it was Tocker 69 said 17 injured. Apologies if I've got that wrong. Car has been driven into supporters at the Liverpool parade. Thank you, Tocker 69. If we've 17 injured. Miranda Sky says, I've just been watching about Liverpool. No, Paulie, it doesn't sound great at all. And having worked for Radio City in Liverpool and have lots of friends in Liverpool, I do my thoughts and prayers. I don't know. Let me have a look. What's Terry? There is a video shot from a higher viewpoint, shows the vehicle hitting people, then from an almost standstill speeds up, swings back into the road and accelerates into more pedestrians. So reports are coming out that it's 17 injured. We know that that's what, and it's the golden hour, the first hour of anything. You can be sure that there will be chaos. And as I've said many times, I don't consider this to be an act of war, but the first casualty of war is always the truth. And remember when Southport hit the wires, within the first hour, it was hitting the social media wires, and we were getting some semblance of a truth. And I'm going to ask you a question. Now, I don't often do this. I have prepared a live tonight, enough for at least 3 hours. Should we go? I'm happy to look at the reportage that's going on with the news channels, because I'm sure this will be the main story. And then we can, like Nicholas says, folk injured all over the road. Napoleon blown apart. I'm reading from ground news as you speak. Leeds is on the case, giving us updates as we can. Terry Wookfit's obviously very well versed in these kinds of things. Chris Mundy says, thoughts and prayers with all those involved. My friend is there with his kids. Can't get hold of him. I want to stay with this story because this is what live radio and or live YouTube is all about. Let me just see if I can. I'll be looking at the same reports as you, but it allows us to have honest reporting and honest conversations. We're not getting. Look, if my peepers can see it and you can see it, then we know what we're seeing. Let me have a look. We'll run on a couple of. So a man's detained after car hits pedestrians at Liverpool FC parade, according to the BBC. Liverpool Council liaising with police. But it was how can I put this delicately? It was Merseyside police that were looking after Southport, and we had a chief constable resign because of that. So, according to Liverpool City Council, we are currently liaising with Merseyside Police regarding an incident on Water Street in the city centre. So everything that we know so far at 19:27, so 10 minutes ago, it happened just after 1800 hours. They received a report a car had collided with a number, quote, a number of pedestrians on Water Street. It's not yet known how many people are injured or if anyone has been killed. Police say a man has been detained following the collision. An air ambulance has landed in the area and there are a large number of police cordons in place. The incident follows an afternoon of celebrations as thousands of Liverpool fans might watch the Premier League trophy parade in the city centre. So we're not really any further forward. In fact, because you're my eyes and ears, you've got much more across this than I have. Terry Wookford's seen the video. Let's have a look at what Sky is saying. Right, okay. You see, the main news channels, I will say, a couple of minutes ago, Sir Keir Starmer, Prime Minister, says scenes in Liverpool appalling and thanks emergency services for response, including the fire brigade. We've just had a statement from the Prime Minister. Sir Keir Starmer said, the scenes in Liverpool are appalling. My thoughts are with all those injured or affected. I want to thank the police emergency services for their swift and ongoing response to this shocking incident. I'm being kept updated on developments and ask that we give police the space they need to investigate. There are pictures of injured and wounded being held by emergency services. There's a cordon in place that I can see. Pictures from the scene. Let's have a look. See if you've got anything different. CNBC TV 18 has a live stream. Thank you, Aidan. Will you keep us updated as to any new developments? Les says it takes the spotlight away from the American delegation arriving here to investigate loss of free speech. Yes, Les, I was going to talk about that. They have arrived here. They've been here and they've had meetings. Even Stephen says this never used to happen. And Jackie Glasgow says, what's happening in Liverpool? Jackie, we're getting reports of developments coming out of Liverpool, that there's been a road traffic collision, RTC for short. And what we have to do for the moment, we can't speculate at all, because there may be a simple explanation, but there may be not. And I would like to Napoleon blown apart, Irish Examiner, people were injured in the incident, with images capturing someone being taken away on a stretcher and a man walking with his arm around a police officer for support. Soul Rebel, the videos all over X. Okay, have I got, let's see if I can get onto that and have a look, because it would help me sign in. What the hell? No, you can either win shite. No, I haven't forgot. That's it. Forgive me. I just want to be able to. That's not the dogs, by the way. They've gone back to their home and they're what? Wrong password. Can't look at X. I have no idea what the password is. Can't, off the top of my head, I can't. Martine says it's not nice to watch, Adrian. Soul Rebel says they're not going to be able to bury this. Too many cameras. It's absolutely awful. People dragged under the car, according to Cuban Pete. Oh, man. Paulie Galtieri attacking football fans. People might actually wake up now. Well, I'm sure there were hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people there to celebrate and be part of the victory parade. Nicola Mooney's just looking at Liverpool. If you Andrew James says, Paulie Gallieri, I agree. Government played down Manchester Arena for fuck's sake. Ghetto defendant, terrible scenes in Liverpool. It's the people's game all over the world. No place for this type of thing. The U Bovril, the show's running on the hoof at the moment. Events have taken over for now. For the moment, and yes, it is shocking, Nicola Mooney. I can't remember my X password. Les Griffiths asks a question, and it's a very valid question. It could be a plan to ignite civil unrest. Could it? Question mark. Terry Wookford, this one is from closer to ground level and closer to the incident. Terry, just kind of, if you could comment on what you're seeing on the video, and then I'll sort of possibly rephrase it for people that might not want to, because some people, although there would be interest, wow. Sorry, Sandra. So tomorrow night, just in case, the next live is going to be 7:30 tomorrow night, Tuesday night. It's Monday night tonight. We just decided on 7:30, and I know that some people are not getting notifications of stuff that I'm doing. I get that. I'll have to take that up with YouTube at some point. Interesting, Les. Civil unrest would be used to suspend civil law and rights. We cannot speculate. Because we learned the lesson from Southport. We cannot speculate about ethnicity and or any religious leaning or anything to do with the driver of the car. We can't. Please don't. I see you said this is scaring me. Mad Matt, hi all. Adrian, can I share a link, please? It's bloody graphic mind. Yes, you can. Try, Mad Matt. If we can get through that, then yes. Aidan Wellsmith says the video, it's deliberate. From the video, no doubt about it. Top 69 says, I'm watching it. Looks possibly like someone trapped under the car. Oh, man. It's not necessarily... hello, everyone. Did you hear about... yeah, Mike, we're going to do Macron getting a bitch slapped from his husband. But for the moment, there's a developing story coming out of Liverpool that a car's been... there's been a... For the moment, we'll call it an RTC. A road traffic collision with possible people injured, possibly people trapped under the car. It's in Liverpool, part of the Liverpool Football Club victory parade. We're just trying to get people... Ray Norton says images on X are quite graphic. We're getting better updates here than from the main news outlets. New footage from the ground, says Karen. If I don't mention your name, please forgive me. I'm just trying to get the information to everyone that's watching this live. The police have to attack the fans because the fans were going to deal with the driver. Right, okay. You don't... well, knowing the Liverpudlians, and it's very similar in the heavy industry areas, whether it be shipping in Liverpool... or like Glasgow. Glasgow is very different from Edinburgh. When they had that terrorist attack in Glasgow, they didn't run away, the Scots. They ran towards and gave one of the boys an absolute doing. Have a look at the link, Adrian. It's the car going into the crowd. The O'Bovril, being very measured, says the reaction is to be expected. Stuart saying the PA News Agency is reporting that UK Home Secretary Yvette Cooper is also being kept updated about the events in Liverpool. I get that. That's just natural process. That's just what the politicians will do. All I would say to you is we need to juxtaposition Southport with this. I'm not saying it's the same. I'm just saying that we have to initially start with a little caution. And yes, everybody's saying how the fans didn't get him out before the police is beyond me, says Nikki Watson. Thank you, Nikki. Amalia says distressing videos on X. I will obviously. There's a lot of corroboration from you in the comments. Ray Norton says the car stops after going into crowd. The drive forward towards more people. Fans smashed the car window to stop the driver from moving. Or the Scousers will have gone. Quite rightly. They'll have wanted to defend their families and friends and fellow supporters. Phil Levan says, how could this happen on a parade? You would think the police would have blocked the roads. Well, you would, Phil Levan. I'm not going to have a go at the boys and girls in blues yet. Because, as I say, Stuart says, I've just seen the video there. My heart is breaking. Aidan Wellsmith, how do you know he's not a suicide bomber? You don't. Because the car is now part of the crime scene. So they will have to, they'll get Socko out, they'll get it wrapped up, and they'll get it off to see what else is in the car, to see if there's any corroboration as to who the driver is, any background to the driver. And Les Griffiths very honestly says Yvette Cooper is about as much use as a one-legged man in an arse-kicking competition. I'm with you completely, Les. I'm with you, because I look, she pitched up first to lay flowers in Southport. How does that work? And then he turns up. I'll tell you this: if it's linked anywhere and it's nefarious, Starmer's gone. Absolutely gone. Rich says, let's not speculate until the evidence comes to light. Could have been a tragic accident where someone genuinely panicked after being attacked earlier. Needs more video of how this started. Agree, Rich. That's why I've said through the first 10-15 minutes of this live that we need to be measured, proportionate and appropriate. Thank you, Sandra. Mike J says, oh my God, yes, it's on X. Terrible, straight into a tight group of people. Oy, oy, oy. Southport, DJE Media, Heckle Starmer, and rightly so. To the soldiers in Northern Ireland, I remember that. And to kind of take Derek Tomlinson's angle, if you remember the two, well, technically squaddies, but they were actually 14 int, 14 intelligence, which was the unbadged SAS on the streets of Northern Ireland, because the government needed to have deniability. Hang on a second. Honestly, I mentioned this and all of a sudden I've been disconnected. So I'll keep going. I'll just keep rebooting my computer because that's the easiest way. And I will, I will continue broadcasting. The minute I've mentioned 14 int, I've been cut off. So I think I've got certain organisations watching or monitoring or do that. So I'll try and do two things at once. So 14 int. Look, if they're going to do me, I'd rather be hung for a sheep than a lamb. So 14 int was the unbadged SAS. Because in the beginning of the 70s, the IRA was saying, oh, the British government, they've got the SAS on the streets of Northern Ireland. And the British government says, no, we haven't. No, we haven't. Hang on, it's not connecting. So what the British government did was they actually had certain people in training, did exactly the same training as the SAS, exactly the same situation, the kill room and everything. And I know because this is firsthand. This is how I know. My lived experience, that's all I'm delivering to you. I'm not going to say any more about it, but so the two squaddies, they weren't just squaddies. That's why they were carrying the type of guns they were carrying. They were 14 int. And one of the lads was coming back to the mainland, going back to base, and there was a new guy had gone out there. And so the guy that had got plenty of experience in coming back was just showing him the ropes. I couldn't see that very last comment that somebody's posted. I'm going to have to look at the comments on my phone. They're saying that people on the ground were saying that the driver of the man that told me was a relative and in 14 int. So don't tell me anything other than what he told me. And he told me that it was one of the guys going back to the mainland. They were both 14 int, both of them. Right. Sorry, Terry. I'm kind of getting a bit airy because, well, you know my situation with EE. We're going back to BT. We have to get through this bank holiday weekend. So, right, while I was cut off, I said what I said. I'm not going to say it again, but I'm back for now. Kaz, thank you. An email. Interesting. Thank you, Terry. I might do that a little bit later and work out how I can go through something. Is it like DuckDuckGo or something where you can change your DNS settings? Chris Mundy, Sky News, white British man arrested. Les Griffith says London alone has 1,000 police officers monitoring social media. They will pass the info on. Oh, I'm sure. Well, but I'm giving you my lived experience. It is truth. Queen, another rock drum cover's gone again. Mark, I'm back. Right, let me just check. I'm going to. Right, I've reset it. Use Google DNS. It's the fastest and most reliable. Interesting, because I am using Google. So, Sandra's giving an update. Possibly about 30 injured. I know this is sounding chaotic, but for the first hour, we have to get as much information into the chat as possible, because once that hour, that golden hour, is completed, then the powers that be in the shadows, whomever they are, 77th Brigade if you wish, they're then controlling the information that you're getting. So it doesn't matter if 20 or 30 40, 50, 60 people put the same information in the comments. That's how we're going to be able to disseminate everything. Roy Gordon, no sound, breaking up considerably. Hang on, I'm not doing anything. I'm just sorting the sound out. So I caused the buffering because I've now gone and switched Bluetooth off, because that tends to be the main reason why the sound is a bit iffy. But as I say, thank you to everyone in the comments. Manda Sky says, apparently a Welsh number plate. Well, as we know with Southport, it might be a Welsh choir boy that's driving it. Paulie Galtieri says, this is starting to get bizarre. Hang on to our coattails, Paulie. We'll make our way through the chaos. As I say, the first casualty of war is always the truth, and that's why we need you to comment about what you are seeing and then adding it to our comments, because then you and I and everybody else, the community that watches the lives and is part of this channel, 53-year-old British man arrested. Aidan Wellsmith says, from what I can see, suntanned, black hair. Looks terrible according to personal trainer. Cuban Pete, speculation apart, what the hell is happening to this country? I really fear for the younger generation. There's been 17 people attacked in Germany that have been stabbed or knifed. That was just over the weekend. We've got knife attacks happening regularly in France. We rejoin the EU and all of a sudden this happens. You can speculate in any which way that you want. Dale Steele says, looks like a white bloke driving car. Gary Chabot, your sound has gone. It should be back. I've switched the Bluetooth off. Roy Gordon says, it's unwatchable, Adrian. I'm not getting anything. Just refresh your frame. Just if you're watching it through YouTube, Roy, just refresh the page and it should be fine. Now I'm monitoring it and it's within half a second or so behind what I'm actually saying, and the sound looks okay. So so Tucker69 says it's okay. Some people are getting rough service, but all okay here, says the Bovril. I did a refresh. So everyone, you won't lose anything. Just refresh the page and all the technical difficulties should just disappear. Ghetto Defendant says there will have been plenty of ale drunk today on Merseyside, just saying. Yeah, not speculating, but Ray Norton says it's stable on phone and Fire Stick. Okay now, Karina Jane. Thank you, Karina and Ray. Abby Caston, pictures of snipers on top of buildings in Liverpool on X. I was just thinking this the other day, and it relates to whether you're new to the channel or whether you don't know any of my stories. Just watch the Working Class Patriot footage. He's definitely an older white guy. Ghetto Defendant, someone is listening in, Adrian. Oh, I don't doubt that. I mean, I had somebody from GCHQ contact me when I was in South Wales on Real Radio saying, yeah, we have a listen every now and again. I mean, we know the game. We know the game. That's why, if you're my eyes and ears and you put it in the comment here and everybody corroborates what you say, there's the truth. We've only got 60 minutes. Because once that 60 minutes is up, I promise you, that's the golden hour, and then everything is monitored and manipulated. Amalia says, oh, dear God, don't watch the videos. They're horrific. I'm speechless. Well, I'm a hardened journo radio presenter, Amalia. I appreciate that they are not great, but as someone who talks about this stuff. Dale Steele says, what good are snipers in situations like that? Well, I will tell you from my inside knowledge that certainly from, and I have to be very careful how I'm saying this, some football matches, they have spotters. They're not snipers, they're spotters. And they look like they have guns pointed, and actually they're binoculars of sorts. And they have film crews. They're monitoring the football fans and what's going on. Paulie Gallieri, pro-Palestinian supporter, apparently. Yeah, Andrew. Well, I'm hoping that the injuries are not too bad. I'm praying in my head while I talk to you that we're looking at something as horrific as the scenes are. Amalia says, I wish I hadn't watched. You always have to be very careful, Amalia. It's very easy just to go and watch. But I will have a look, because I can't speak of things if I haven't seen them. And if my eyes, and sometimes I know a little bit more than I let on here. I'm not going to go into why. Ray Norton says, I've never known rival supporters drive into crowds. I don't think the Evertonians would do that. Not by their Scousers. I mean, they might be rival football fans, but really, Scousers attempting this? Tusi showing footage, very graphic, says Luke. Yeah, it's... we have had a look at the technical facility of playing things when I'm doing live. And maybe we need to get into that. It's 2025, but we do have the technical capability, but it's paying for stuff, paying for the software to be able to play that through my my Rodecaster Pro 2. Theo Bovril says, I won't bother watching any videos of this incident. It depends whether you want to speak of truth, Theo Bovril. I know, as Malia has says, they're very, very upsetting. That everybody's saying they're very, very graphic. But Tucker69 says, cover up in full swing. How long we've been going? Yeah, well, it happened just after 6 o'clock. I've been on air half an hour. So I can guarantee you that we've only got 20 minutes or so before things will be sanitized by the powers that be that decide what you can and can't watch and or Aidan Wellsmith says, the BBC saying it was an RTA, road traffic accident, road traffic collision, is going to be in a lot of trouble. Paulie Galtieri, nobody native of Liverpool would do this in their city on fellow Scousers. Nicholas, the sniper had a rifle. So all I can say, Nicholas, and everyone else that's sort of saying, Martine saying Tusi said 17 hurt. What I'm trying to do here, Martine, is use you as my eyes and ears. Everybody's reporting it from lots of different sources, so I can then corroborate it. But we literally have 20, 25 minutes left to get the truth. I know the news channels, like the BBC, and somebody's already... Stuart saying Merseyside police have asked people not to speculate on the circumstances surrounding the incident. We can confirm the man arrested was 53-year-old British man from the Liverpool area. That's RTE News. Gary, thank you. Rebooted his iPad. It seems to be back on sound now. Very suspicious. Well, they might be at it, Gary. They may be at it. Terry Wookford says Merseyside plods say we would ask people not to speculate on the circumstances surrounding tonight's incident on Water Street in Liverpool city centre. We can confirm the man arrested is a British man from the Liverpool area, a 53-year-old white British man. Now, the one thing that you can take from all the corroboration that everybody's putting into the chat is this. When it may be innocent of sorts, when it's white and British, they tell you immediately. Anybody else, they withhold that information. So now you can see it. That's why I asked you to use your Southport memories as juxtaposition to this. Driver been in the pub all day? Oy, oy, oy. Ghetto defendant. You can say that, but I can't possibly comment. Nicky Watson, I've got Tusi on and Adrian. Tusi's only going to tell you roughly what I'm telling you, but I've got more eyes and ears. He may have more people in his team, but the best team I have is you. It's you every single time, because you're not going to bullshit me, because everybody else will corroborate what everybody is saying. Your timing to broadcast tonight at 7:30 was meant to be. I know, Chris. I know. Thank you for that. We did that. Paulie Galtieri. How the hell did the police let the car in? I see you. Mental health. Andy B. Blimey, Andy, you've missed it all tonight. First half hour. I think you might want to look at some of the comments and catch up with what's going on. Andrew James says, nor have I, but rival fans can be violent. Just because you support a fan of a club does not mean you are from that city. As in, there are Manchester United, Liverpool and Man City fans in Kent. Well, I can tell you, there's no more violence. And I know people talk about other football rivalries. There is none that comes anywhere, and anybody from the northeast in the chat can corroborate this. Newcastle and Sunderland, they would rather put their firstborn to death than have an opposing side. I've told you this story before, an opposing side's fan in the family. My nephew, bless him, he's a big strapping boy now, but my nephew, bless him, when he was 3 and 4 year old, he was a Newcastle fan, and he was told, mate, change your allegiance or you can leave home. We'll pack your bags for you. You can leave home. And at 3 and 4 year old, it was traumatising for him. But we meant it. If he was going to be a Newcastle supporter in a family of Sunderland supporters, find yourself a new home. And you think I'm being funny. Wolves and West Brom the same. Oh, behave, man. Rich, Jesus. Have you not seen the footage of the horse puncher when Sunderland beat Newcastle at Sid James Park? And all of a sudden, the coppers are on their horses, and this Newcastle supporter in a Newcastle shirt goes and chins a horse. I mean, what is all that about? But I'm not, and again, please, I'm not trying to make light of what is going on in the city. It's a lifetime incident. It's a real developing story, and we just want to stay on what is coming out of Liverpool. The reason why I'm talking about a couple of other things is just to give you context in things. Tocker69 says, I know Liverpool, the fans of both clubs stand together. I lived there through Hillsborough. Tocker69, I'm sure you have wonderful memories of the city and what happened in Hillsborough and the aftermath of Hillsborough. I mean, the Sun, Scousers won't buy the Sun, still to this day, all these years later, still won't buy the Sun. Tom Harney says, as an Arsenal fan, this is terrible news. My heart goes out to all involved. Thank you, Tom. That's the class of the comments this evening. I think everybody feels exactly the same way. It's horrendous. It's awful. Should never have happened. Quite rightly, Merseyside police are asking for no speculation. That's why they've put out 53-year-old and white. I mean, I see you. Says, I doubt this has anything to do with football. And Mike J says, I know it was a typical football crowd, so you can imagine the damage he did. He must have driven 30 or 40 feet through a dense crowd. But as someone said a little earlier, Andrew James, Toosey does not have Terry Wookfit. Terry's the boy. The thing that I was going to say that was mentioned a little earlier was after the comment, somebody says, oh, he might have been on the ale all day. But then somebody says, well, how did the car get through the cordons that the police should have had in place? Phil the Van, did he KO the horse? No, I think man versus horse, horse won, thankfully. It's like something off Blazing Saddles. Yeah, horse puncher. He'll never live that down, ever, as far as the Sunderland supporters are concerned. I mean, we're in the Premiership again this year, so it might just get a little lively on derby nights or days. Les Griffiths, well, you've got a point, Les. Stop bringing football into this evil act. Yes, it's evil, but the reason why we can bring football into this as a context is it was Liverpool Football Club, and it was Liverpool Football Club supporters and families of football fans. Toosey also forgot the Battenberg. Terrible, Rich. No class. Terry Wookfit. Barry Rogerson got sentenced to a year but served 12 weeks. So, Rebel, colour is irrelevant when or if it comes to this. Palestine stuff, people are nutters. I could go down a very deep rabbit hole there, and for the moment I won't. I think we need to allow and find the information that's coming out of Liverpool and get it into the chat. The minute you see it or it's been corroborated, then please put it in the chat and then we'll disseminate it. God, blimey. Yeah, all the news channels are on it. Ray Norton, totally agree, Andrew, but I've never known of this type of attack from rival fans. I agree with you, Ray, completely. Des Ashton, I've just watched a video on X. In my opinion, this was not an accident. I would suggest, and I do hope, that this is not in support of any group outside of Great Britain or the United Kingdom. I do hope so. Because can you remember some of the people going into the Black Lives Matters parades and, I mean, horrible, horrible, horrible footage. Mike J says, does it have anything in common with other recent events? Question mark. Has anything similar happened? Question mark. Andrew James says, my dad got into an argument with a Folkestone Invicta fan, as my dad is a Hythe Town supporter. Blimey. I mean, I know that, what's the Disraeli quote, man can only truly act from his passions. But in this case, this is the front page news story for tomorrow. It's the only story that's going to hit the front page news. What will happen, excuse me, Martin P. on X, police have arrested a 53-year-old white British man following the scenes in Liverpool. This is believed to be the driver who is now arrested. We can talk about this. I know I mentioned sub judice a lot, and a lot of YouTubers don't have a grasping of the law that they can and can't use. But I would suggest to you that he's not being charged. Most news channels will back away when somebody's been arrested, but technically sub judice kicks in under a judge when someone has been charged, and we're not hearing, unless you know different, that anybody's been charged with anything. The U Bovril says, I can't see it being an opposing football fan because Liverpool won the league by a long mile. Rusty's roamings. Seen a couple of comments saying that he was calmly driving down the road, then people started pelting his car with stuff. Maybe he's panicked. Talker 69's hearing fans ripped doors off the car. It's school friend of mine, Liverpool fan, who was there, is suggesting there are fatalities. As I say, ghetto defendant, it's the first hour, so we've been going with this story 45 minutes or so. Within the next 10-15 minutes, it will be controlled. It will be sanitized. It will be controlled, and you won't get anything much more than, you won't get the name of the guy, you won't get any background of the guy in the mainstream media in the morning. They'll focus on the families, the injured parties and the city and how it's affecting the city. Stuart says, I'm monitoring BBC, RTE News and Sky News for updates. Thank you, Stuart. Mark Bryden, all the facts will become clear soon. Well, fingers crossed, Mark, but I know how the media works, and that's why I've asked everyone watching the channel this evening to just note how things were with Southport, because we weren't allowed. We absolutely were not allowed. Right, Terry Wookfitz made a very good point. Maybe he was pelted because of an earlier out-of-view incident. There are 3 sites being manned by Northwest Ambulance Services. Wow, treating the injured in a local restaurant, says Luke. Martin P, full footage on X. Ian, I'm not sure. I mean, I know Everton are not having a great time of things, and they've got a Sunderland, a Mackham in goal. So I'm not sticking up for them. Stuart saying from the wider news coverage, Starmer's tweet is on RTE News. Won't be Starmer that tweeted it, it'll be his team, his comms team. Paulie Galtieri says, Adrian, read my comment above. I will miss some of them. Adrian, I've just seen footage of the car before it ran into fans. The car was initially attacked before driving off down the street. Driver looked white tanned, Turkish style haircut. Well, let's just keep monitoring whatever's coming out. Thank you for the update, Paulie. As I say, your eyes are my eyes. I need you to corroborate things. And it is fast-moving, reckless crowd of pedestrians intentionally crashed into an innocent lamb of a car. Nothing like irony, Terry. EBTB Holiday, doing great job. Thanks, Adrian. It's team tonight because I can't technically. I can monitor the BBC. Let's see what the BBC is saying. Where did this happen? Wow, it was quite near the end of the parade route. That's very interesting. As I've said earlier, it was just after 6 o'clock, 1800 hours. They received reports of a car colliding with a number of pedestrians. There's a map on the BBC, and latest police statement is, please do not speculate. That's 15 minutes old. And I've had everybody actually tell me in the comments, which is Sky News just want me to say yes to cookies. No, you can. Oscar. Sky News, 35 minutes old. Let me just refresh that and see what we know. Key points: 53-year-old British man detained after car collides with a number of pedestrians. Crowds had gathered for the Liverpool victory parade. Eyewitness reports that there was a car driving straight towards us. Scenes in Liverpool are appalling, says Prime Minister. And have you been affected by this incident? Look, news channels don't care. They just don't care. Let's go back to the channel, see what else you're saying. Amalia says the video of him just before it happened, so very sad. Men were trying to stop him by the looks of things before he drove off. Karen says, just watched the same footage as Paulie and I agree with his description of what happened and the person in the vehicle. Ian McGee says, seen vids from the people I know were there. It was deliberate. Phil the Van. Oh, British, not English. Wow. And how long British? You know what I'm saying by that. Tell Sky News, I'll have their cookies if they're offering, says Stuart. Des Ashton, reverse psychology. First thing you do when asked not to. Well, from what everybody's saying and the videos that are going around on social media, and I will have a look at them once we've finished tonight's live. Terry Wookfit, sit rep, could be anything. Pissed up driver, panicking driver, or someone intent on killing people. It could be any one of those. For the moment, it's all speculation. As I say, they'll have to put a cordon in place. They'll clear the injured. Hopefully no fatalities. If anyone's trapped or stuck, then they will deal with that and they'll get the car away to the scenes of crime. So Socko will go and have a look, see if there's any evidence within the car of what may have caused this, what may have been a contributory factor to this. And then they've got this guy arrested. They'll get him straight in for an interview. Jackie Glasgow said, I just watched a bit of the vid on X. It is really affecting. Very graphic, horrific. It does look intentional, as it was literally ploughing through the crowd. Aidan Wellsmith, again, very valid point. Could be a convert. British, not English, says Les Griffiths, as in dog in a stable, not a horse. Very wise saying, Les. And Stuart says, Harris describes scenes in Liverpool as devastating. That's Ireland's PM, Simon Harris. Aidan Wellsmith, Les Griffiths, exactly. Coulter's Law. Mike J, from the quick look I've had of him on X, he looks white. But as many others have corroborated, tanned with dark hair. I'm not suggesting that your eyesight's as bad as mine, Mike, but thankfully we've got the corroboration from others. And as you say, you're corroborating what others are saying. Simon Harris, our thoughts are with the people of Liverpool this evening. This was supposed to be a night of celebration for this city and Liverpool fans. Instead, we are witnessing some devastating... Thank you, Bovril. That's very kind of you. Yeah, the swear box. I haven't had Michael Benteen's potty mouth time yet tonight, but I don't believe that the situation calls for any ranting or any bad language. Thank you, Stuart, for that update. Les Griffith says, lots of white people wearing pashminas at protests. Yes, that is true. Terry Wookford, keep an open mind. Could be one of... Yeah, could be someone with mental health problems. Could be issues. It could be anything. Scenes unfold. My officials in the Department of Foreign... Oh, this is Simon Harris's. These devastating scenes unfold. My officials in the Department of Foreign Affairs keeping me up to date. Paulie Galtieri says, Terry, a name was mentioned on X. Split from wife, depressed. Oi, 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 oi. You see, I'm really happy with the way you are corroborating everybody else's bits and pieces. We're now 54 minutes since I started this live. It happened at just after 6 o'clock. That's when the police got the initial phone call, and we're getting to the end of the golden hour, and you can feel that the information is stopping. It's slowing down. It's stopping. Other than the injured and those that hopefully there's been no fatalities. But it's interesting that somebody's suggesting it might be a guy with mental health issues, split from wife, and possibly struggling. Les Griffiths. Oh, I'm with you. Honestly, I'm with you. That's why I'm asking everyone to put everything into the comments so I can read them. And my memory's not that bad. But Les says, focus on what they want to distract us from. From Starmer being ousted as leader of the Labour Party, I think. Beata, as they say, we're a melting pot nation, or as some say, mongrel. So British could mean anything these days. I'm with you. I mean, I've had the mickey taken out of me for most of my life. I mean, not strawberry blonde or kind of really red. I'm more a mahogany. I'm a ginge, and I'm white. I'm from northeast. That's my heritage. Nothing I can do about that. But interesting. Andrew James, what a beautiful phrase. He says to Beata, an island of strangers. Well, we're not on this channel, and that's why I've trusted your eyes tonight, so that we can get to some semblance of truth. Manda Sky says, I'm sure that same story has been used before. Split from wife, struggling with mental health, but we have to allow the authorities to say what's going on. Mike J says, Sky News now saying white British man arrested. I mean, it shocks me that that Sky, and they've got this epithet, and have for all of my time in the media, and I've been in the media for 40 years, Sky was always known as never wrong for long. They would just publish it, be damned, and they have done in the past. But here, they were over 35 minutes since the last update. The BBC's on it, definitely on it tonight. So I don't know whether the BBC, as the state broadcaster, are being fed the information by government departments. Ian McGee says, seeing the sniper vid, so I was expecting something. Intel. Yeah, that's why they have spotters on roofs for football games, because they have intel. I'm not speaking out of turn. There's no reason why I can't tell you that. Terry says, it's also possible the driver wasn't the only one arrested. A 53-year-old could have been someone trying to twat the driver. Other reports say the driver was a young male, early 20s at most. You see, 57 minutes in, and the truth will be constrained by those that don't want us to know what the truth is. I'm glad that we've got switched on people watching what's going on, and Terry is always good for an angle. Thank you, Terry. Mental health doesn't make people harm innocents. I agree with you, Mike J. Beata, Andrew James, of course, I forgot about that. I'll get back to Andrew's comment in a second. Ghetto defendant, crime scene forensic tent in place over the incident location. I would know that if the way to tell if someone's been involved in an RTC, just generally, then they close the road if it's been a fatality. If they've got the Socko tent up, then it would look like... Oh, thank you, Terry. Terry Wookfit's now saying there is a vid of the car door being pulled open. Driver, although out of focus, slightly isn't 53. Police trying to contain fans from getting to the driver inside the police van. They'll have to get him out of there quick. Get him down to the local police station. Lauren Taylor, Terry, that's my sense. Having viewed the Workers' Patriot footage, the police are protecting someone. That PV point of view. Watch the crowd. Nikki Watson, the video I just saw looked like a younger dark-haired male. The door was open, then he closed it and drove off. I see you, says, the people who were near will tell the truth. Or it'll be all over social media. But they won't be able to close this down. They'll try, because there were... Well, if you look at Southport, and I've asked everyone to use that as a juxtaposition, how we've been through something similar, a catastrophic, horrific event, and how we were closed down. And there are people still in jail for commenting. I was going to comment on... I can't remember his name. It's O'Rourke. Forgive me. He's in jail doing 3 years for posting on X. Chris M says, if you can freeze the video, you could probably make out the reg number. Ghetto defendant, there are no longer medical teams at the immediate crime scene. Not sure what that means. Paulie Galtieri, update. counter-terrorism police helping Merseyside police. What's the source for that, Paulie? Is it news channels saying that? Is it on X? Is it a corroboratable source? Stuart says it's on TikTok. Kaz, video of guy on the ground, can only see legs as in shorts. Don't look like legs of a 53-year-old to me. The U Bovril, quite rightly, they may ship the culprit away and out of Liverpool for his safety. There is, I mean, if you look at, well, the Scousers they won't let this go. They won't. They will want to know the truth. Who said that? It's all over X, Michelle D. You can see what happens to him. Okay. Paulie Galtieri says on X, Adrian. Politics UK, Adrian. Yeah, normally a very good source, Paulie. Thank you for that. Aidan Wellsmith on the Starmer and the boy band terror squad investigating. Nothing from the Vice squad. Evidently, he must have paid the bill. We're now out of the golden hour, so it's a perfect opportunity for you to see how things work. Thank you to everyone that's updated the comments with as much as they could. Thank you to everyone who, whatever they saw, updated the comments in the first hour so that we can have it corroborated by numerous sources and numerous other people who were also commenting. Karen says he looks about 30, give or take a few years. Les Griffiths censoring right now. We're in 61 minutes in. The Bad Wolf Project, he's a 53-year-old man, put his foot down, at least 24 injured with 3 life-threatening. Normally they would say life-changing or life-threatening. So they will compartmentalize those that are walking wounded, those that have injuries, those that have life-changing injuries, and those that have life-threatening injuries. So it'll be 4 different compartments. It's interesting, the Bad Wolf Project. You've normally got very good eyes. Is it the 53-year-old man that they've dragged out of the car, or as some people are saying, it might be somebody who was trying to get into the car who might have had his hands around his throat or something? Because Martine says the driver's lucky to be alive. The police saved him from the fans. Aidan Wellsmith says life-changing comes later. The police will decide whether it's life-changing or life. God, my mind's gone blank. They will say the first press conference they do, they will tell you how many injured, and they will tell you either life-changing or life-affecting. Les, do you know, I know it's irony and funny, but David Lammy, the whole press conference calling for cars to be banned, probably. The Bad Wolf Project, Royal A&E now closed, heavy police presence, driver was 53, he has been detained. Yes, we've got that, Rich. I mean, there's so many people in there that they literally, the way that the emergency services work, they will have they have a term for it, but they will have police coming in from GMP, from Lancashire Police, Merseyside Police, possibly South Yorkshire, North Yorkshire, possibly a little further south, Cheshire. They will have all of those police forces come straight in. They'll be called off leave or they'll be called in because this is a major incident. And when a major incident is declared, and nobody has yet, if you've seen a major incident being declared within the media or within a news source, please tell me, because a major incident changes the for want of a better term, the colour of what we're dealing with. So I would hazard a guess that Merseyside Police will declare an emergency incident. Mutual aid, thank you, Rich, appreciate it. Right, for some inexplicable reason, not enough Jaeger bombs in me hibiscus. Kaz 987's just said, seen a video of the earlier incident. He was going back and forwards like trying to turn around, looking over his shoulder when reversing. As some said earlier, could be a panicking driver. Terry Wookfit is saying on the main page of the BBC, they do say about the 53-year-old, it's not clear if he is thought to be the driver. Let's see. Emergency service presence pictured in Liverpool city centre after a car collided with pedestrians. A large emergency service presence. Les Griffiths. I know you were highlighting the inevitable stupidity of politicians. That's why I read it out, Les. Honestly, I'm not holding anything against you. I'm just glad that you commented in the way that you did. The Bad Wolf Project, we would ask people not to speculate on the circumstances surrounding tonight's incident on Water Street in Liverpool city centre. We can confirm the man arrested is a 53-year-old white British man. But they're not saying whether he's the driver or not. They're not saying what his involvement was. And what they're not saying, this is a critical incident. They're the words that I'm looking for. Aidan Wellsmith says it was extremely fast initially. We just heard the pop, pop, pop of people just being knocked off the bonnet of the car. The Bad Wolf Project says that is direct from the Merseyside Police website. Thank you, the Bad Wolf Project. Derek Tomlinson, if government go to Cobra, it's more than they are saying. So we sit and observe, Derek, just so that, because we kind of know how this works now. As I say, with the juxtaposition of Southport, we know that that Cobra met very quickly. Stuart saying a witness who was walking with a group of friends said he saw a car speeding up and hitting pedestrians. Aidan Wellsmith, if it's not the driver, it's very bad for the police. And Les Griffith says, Adrian, let's sum up tonight's tragic event. Britain is a lawless shithole. We can, that may be a reaction rather than a response, Les. And I completely agree with you. We're going to hell in a handcart. But we need to be measured and proportionate to this, because I'm waiting. If it's declared a critical incident, it's very important, because the police and the ambulance and possibly the fire brigade will do different things if it's declared a critical incident. Stuart says, and I agree with you, Les. Literally everything that you write, I always agree with you. Robbie Rees says, I know the justice I would like to see. I think most people in the commenting this evening, Robbie, will concur. Kaz, thank you for the email. Really appreciate it. Stuart says, a man who gave his name as Madra told PA that the car turned left, mounted the pavement, come towards us and runs towards the buildings. So all I think within a couple of hours, people in Liverpool that were there, part of the parade, and on Water Street will be taking to social media. There will have been tens of thousands of cameras operating and phones. So that's why the incident has gone to social media really quickly. Stuart says, eyewitness says they were like sardines. Thank you, Stuart. I see you, says, if you panic in a car, your first instinct is to brake. That's a very valid point. I see you. Rich, if A&E is being closed, the local health authority will have already called a major incident. It's within the language, Rich, calling a major incident. It would normally go from kind of NHS and ambulance and the everyone dealing with the injured parties, and I hope not seriously injured, of course. And they would send it out via the police, who I'm very surprised. So it happened just after 6. We're 2.5 hours away from the incident happening, and the police have not given any press conference. Rich says, yeah, about the major incident. I'm holding off going to what I was going to talk about this evening for now. because I just want, this is such an awful thing that's happening within Liverpool, that it would be very churlish of me to go straight into all the other things that I wanted to talk about tonight. Aidan Wellsmith, the football club, Liverpool City Council, Alderhay Hospital and Merseyside Police have issued a joint statement urging fans not to use flares, smoke bombs and fireworks. Was that earlier, Aidan? I mean, thank you, Aidan. I'll read that again. So that was given out earlier today, and I get that, you know, loads of football fans all over Europe do use the flares and stuff. I mean, my side were at Wembley at the weekend, and there was flares used on Saturday. Phil Levan says, has anyone listened to the telepathy tapes on YouTube? I've seen some videos. Don't think anybody's predicted this. Or, I mean, I could be wrong. Phil Levan, the Bad Wolf Project, says that was earlier during the parade. And to be accurate, Aidan Wellsmith says 4 days ago, to be accurate. Nicholas says, I've just seen a clip of an angry white man in the car before he sets off. So we're 71 minutes into what is a catastrophic and horrible incident in Liverpool. I don't think words will adequately do it justice. Interesting. Sorry, I'll get back to that in a second. I want to read you this. The Bad Wolf Project says, statement from Liverpool Football Club. We are in direct contact with Merseyside Police regarding the incident on Water Street, which happened towards the end of the trophy parade earlier this evening. Phil Levan, okay, have you got a link for it? If you stick a link in the comments or email me a link so I can have a look at it tomorrow, because then we can talk about it on tomorrow's live. BBC, I grabbed my daughter and dived out of the way. BBC reporter on moment car drove through the crowd. So they've got people on the ground. The BBC have got people on the ground there, and a BBC reporter had daughter with him or her. And so, as I was saying, it's very challenging to be to use the right words in situations like this. That's why live radio is so specialist, and live YouTube for that matter. Burlington Bertie makes an excellent point. Is this a black swan event? We are getting lots of incidents recently. Congratulations on the Mackems going up. Thank you, Burlington Bertie. I see you. If you hit one person, that may be an accident. 17 is a different matter. Very good point. I see you. Phil Levan, can't put link in here. It won't show. Joust. If you've got a pen with you, Phil Levan, joustingarena@gmail.com. It's the official email for the channel. So if you just ping me the link in there, joustingarena, all one word, lowercase, @gmail.com. Thank you. Yeah, I'm on X as Adrian Allen. It's my real name, @Adrian Allen on X. Les Griffiths, such events are accelerating across the West. That's why I mentioned there was 17 stabbed or injured just the other day. And it was a woman that was the knife woman that attacked at least 17 people that were injured. The U Bovril says, what an intriguing show so far. Totally unplanned to go this way, yet brilliant all the same. You're very kind, the U Bovril. Aidan Wellsmith at Garen Davis, I tried to get it, check MOT and insurance, etc., but the video's not clear. And after they beat the car up, it's no longer attached. It's a black Ford Galaxy. Taxi driver? Stuart says, Merseyside Police and Crime Commissioner Emily Spurrell said footage of the incident was appalling and urged people not to speculate. Yeah, I mean, they're going to say that. That's for them to say. They will... I don't know where they get this word from, but they used this in Southport, their working hypothesis. What the hell does that mean? Working hypothesis. Look, the police. Thank you, Nicholas. I'll check it once I've done the live tonight. Look. This is the essence. Police, irrespective of the force, the police, they are merely the evidence gatherers. They are the people that put the case together. They gather the evidence of whatever criminality has gone on, and then they pass it to the CPS, Starmer, Director of Public Prosecutions, and they decide whether there is a chance of getting Nicholas got it, thank you, a prosecution and a conviction. So that's what they decide. And like the police turning around and saying, as they did with Southport, our working hypothesis. No, you're just the evidence gatherers. You don't have to hypothesize anything. Just gather the evidence and then pass it to the CPS in as good a shape as you can, and then the CPS will decide. In this case, there will be thousands of videos. So they're going to have to scour those initially. I see you says, the mainstream media will already have had a memo on how to play this. Of course they will. The news editors will have had possibly a telephone call. But as you can see now, I said to you in the beginning, it's the golden hour. That's all you get, the first 60 minutes. And then after that, it's a different case. It's a different situation. There are other factors involved. There are other possible actors involved. So Everton says, our thoughts are with all those who have been affected by this serious incident in our city. Nice. Thank you, Stuart. Des Ashton says the working hypothesis is that for whatever reason, a vehicle was driven into the crowd of pedestrians more than once. Stuart says Reform leader Nigel Farage says he was horrified to see the scenes in Liverpool after what he called a disturbing attack. Disaster area. After seeing the footage, I will be surprised if no fatalities. Adam Wellsmith, thank you, disaster area. Aidan Wellsmith says, what worries me about the mainstream media and the BBC is how they can say it's an RTA, road traffic accident. It's clearly not an RTA, road traffic accident. That's just in language, Aidan. It's what the police will have told the BBC. It's an RTA. They don't use RTC anymore, road traffic collision. They call it a road traffic accident for whatever reason. Maybe it's insurance purposes. Don't know. I see you says, thank goodness for social media. And I completely agree. Initially, you were my eyes and ears. You were able to scour social media whilst I was just kind of giving continuous sit reps as to what was going on and how. If we hadn't had social media, you wouldn't have been able to do that and then pass your comments and or what you've seen on to me. I do believe that this, the reason why I went this way is because we've kind of done it a couple of times with the general election and the local elections. So it's like live radio. It's a fantastic thing to do. And I don't mean that in any churlish way, because people have been damaged and hurt quite horrifically in Liverpool. So I don't want to say anything that will make people think less of the channel and what we've tried to do tonight. Stuart says, Liberal Democrat leader, oh, here we go, he's 15 minutes of fame, says he was shocked by the scenes. Yeah, Ed, mate, you have no standing. Why don't you just foxtrot Oscar and leave us alone? Just, you're like a case of herpes. I just hope we can get rid of you. Les Griffith says, if you've never been in a scene of such incidents, can tell you, over time the pictures in your head fade, but the screams don't. Very good point, Les. I hope they don't affect you this evening. And that goes for everything. Oh, interesting. Super Ted says, I thought they changed it to RTI, road traffic incident. They did, but it changes with whichever force is deciding they're going to use that particular language, to be fair. But now the reportage is slowing down. So the news channels are looking at getting their information from the police. Rich says, sorry, been distracted. My daughter's boyfriend was there in Liverpool. Thankfully, we've just heard he wasn't near the incident and is fine. That's good news to hear, Rich. Very good news. And I understand that Liverpool's got quite a big Irish community. So there's a lot of, like Stuart, who's, I think you're in Dublin, aren't you, Stuart, who will watch RTE. RTE will be all over this. The mainstream media in Ireland will be all over this because of the huge Irish community in Liverpool. Disaster area. He was lucky the police got him out of the car before the fans got to him. Or they wouldn't have messed around. As I was trying to explain with the man and woman on the street, the working man and woman are very individual creatures, and they don't stand on ceremony. So when Starmer, and not to beat him about the political head, metaphorically, but when he's talking about right wing, and he's not going to be able to say the right wing in Liverpool, because they're absolutely not. They're even redder than the northeast of England. So when I was trying to say that in Hartlepool and Middlesbrough and Sunderland and Newcastle, there's no right-wing thugs there unless the government has paid them to go up there and cause mayhem. The Bad Wolf Project says the video is here, very graphic. Thank you for that. That's right, Adrian, I'm in Dublin. So the Irish will be watching this very, very closely, in the same way that the Brits, the English, the mainland, were watching those kids being attacked in Dublin, and we've never heard anything via the mainstream media about what that was about or whether the guys got to court. So I don't know whether you know any updates, Stuart. Remember the attack by the illegal? He attacked the kids and the teachers, didn't he? Outside a school in Dublin months and months ago. Phil Levan, I sent the link, Adrian. I won't say much about it. Okay, thank you very much for that. To your email. Thank you, Phil Levan. Rich says, he said the rumour on the ground is 2 kids are dead. I can't confirm this is true, though. So some people earlier said they would be surprised if there wasn't any fatalities. And it just... Look, this is just my own emotion. And I'm sure this will be corroborated by lots of people in the chat. My kids, no, not the kids. I'm not suggesting that anybody else will be less so, but it's always just worse. I mean, you can imagine the kids, Liverpool supporters, Liverpool family, maybe some Evertonians in there. They're from Liverpool, just wanting to go. They've won the Premiership this season. When they thought the Klopp leaving was they were gonna drop out of the Premiership. I'm sure I'm kind of over egging this pudding, but the excitement of the kids. Dad, I can't speculate until we know. And there's live tomorrow night at 7:30. We obviously will continue this, and I'm going to continue for a little while longer. Nikki Watson says no one deserves this, but like you say, not the kids. I mean, I don't rise to violence at all. The best technique in ninjutsu is running away. No need to play Superman. But when it comes to the kids like Southport, I literally could wring people's necks without any compunction. Because man, it's let's not speculate, because it would be very remiss of me to do that. Les Griffith says, I don't mean to sound unfeeling or callous. I'm not, truly. I'm not, but perhaps it would be best to move on to another topic. Give me a couple of minutes, Les. I am going in that direction. We will get to that. Mike J says, I'll be very surprised if it's just 2. Lauren Taylor. Oh, okay. I'll take a breath for half a minute or so, just collect myself, because that was Chris M says, it's strange the fans trying to stop a car going down the street. He stopped, opened his car door then set off blowing his horn. Nicholas says, definitely a white bloke. Phone footage is rife. I thought it would be. And Ray Norton, I think we can all agree this is a terrible event. Thoughts go out to the people of Liverpool. And I think that's a perfect full stop to the last hour and 15 minutes, 25 minutes. So thank you, Ray. Thank you to everyone that helped with collating all of the information. Oh, man. Fucking hell. Bad Wolf Project says, just found an image of an upturned baby's pushchair. It's heartbreaking. I can't deny that it is. It's an awful thing. There are no words. There are no words. Wow, that's given me some sucker, Terry. I can't. Oh, I'm just a daft old boy that gets emotional about kids, because not the kids, man. Just not the kids. I'm not suggesting I'm hoping it's adults, but this should never have happened. There will be questions asked about the emergency services. There will be questions asked about the policing of the parade that we're getting towards the end of the parade. So I'm genuinely shocked that they didn't and weren't able to cordon off, because this victory parade would have been weeks in the planning. View Bovril, just how many YouTube producers could have handled their show the absolute professional way our Reverend has? Thank you, View Bovril. When it comes to kids, I can't be as stoic and measured, but thank you for your kind words. I come to this to it's always truth in what I see, in my experience, in my emotions. There's always truth and integrity to everything that I do, so thank you. Terry Wookford, probably changes to road closures for parades and large gatherings. Yes, it does. And what they would have done is the victory parade, they would have, it's a bit like running the Great North Run in the Northeast or the London Marathon. What they do is they close certain roads, and the planning of this would have been not necessarily months, but they would have had a whole department in Merseyside Police doing this. So if you're new to the Theatre of the Mind, my background is in radio and telly, and I've been editor of magazines and writer. I have had my own columns for newspapers. So I know that we literally just, I came on air at 7:30 this evening, and had just heard, as I was coming on air, had just heard the news was breaking. And I'd said that we should keep an eye on the developments coming out of Liverpool, and then bang, it all went. And for the first hour or so, thank you to everyone that was my eyes and ears. Terry Wookford quite rightly says, yeah, but correct policy is to get the road back open as soon as possible. Bet you they bring in changes so the crowd disperses before they open roads. That's possible, but this was getting towards, I'm not sure I can do this properly, but the parade started this way. So I'll do it in the opposite way to what you're seeing. So the parade started that way, went through the city that way, and then was coming down towards Water Street at the bottom, and then the end of the the parade was at the bottom of the map. So I would imagine that they were opening roads elsewhere whilst the parade was ongoing, and that would have been council, it would have been police. Les Griffith says, is care in the community the fathers of today's problems? Ghetto defendant, they won't open the scene for a while. Cops are securing the tent now. Okay. The Bad Wolf Project, JMC, is a joint venture between Merseypool and Merseyside Fire and Rescue. CSI is on site collecting evidence. Yeah, the interoperability, that's the word that they use in the emergency services. I have family within the emergency services, and they talk to me about the interoperability between the NHS, the medical specialists, the fire brigade, who, and just for your information, if ever your, I don't know, elderly relatives fall over, don't call the ambulance, call the fire brigade, because the fire brigade deal with falls with the elderly. If somebody is at home and can't get up, what would happen, or what will happen, is that the fire brigade will literally get there first. They don't muck about. They'll break the door down. They'll get the person or persons into a place of safety, and then the ambulance will follow along. Fire will get there first. And any fireman or woman or fire brigade will tell you that they deal with falls with the elderly. And I'll tell anybody that if, like, your grandparents fall over and are stuck, don't call ambulance. Fire brigade, 999, get them there first. They deal with it, and then the police might go, and the police might stand while they get somebody out to repair the front door. But the fire brigade don't bugger about. They deal with falls in the elderly. And I'm surprised that that's not more widely known. Fuck Amalia. Amalia is saying one young man with disabilities cannot be found. Family looking for him. A press conference is due to be held shortly at the headquarters of Merseyside Police. Keep an eye on that, Stuart. I will... I think what I'll do is I'll kind of go to some other subjects, because there's some hard-hitting stuff I wanted to get to you tonight. I'm not going to be able to do it all, but I will do that. Neil Cunningham says, I've seen the footage. It was horrendous. I see you says, I'll remember that. I tripped over the cat yesterday. Honestly, genuinely, I see you. It's not should be more widely known, but fire brigade are the people to call immediately to get them around, because they'll just kick the door off the hinges or use whatever they do to break the doors down. And then the ambulance will come and make sure that, there's no injuries or anything. And then the police will come over and just wait while they get somebody to repair the front door, maybe while the elder is away to hospital. But that is genuine. You can ask any fire brigade. These days, the emergency services controller routes the call to the relevant services. So if somebody dials 999 and they say, I want ambulance, the call taker will just direct them to ambulance. If they say I want police, they'll just I'll direct them to police. If they want the fire brigade, they'll direct them to the fire brigade. But if this is more widely known, then people won't call ambulance first. They'll call the fire brigade to get them there. And the fire brigade don't muck about. They get in. They are tasked with falls with the elderly. English Bottle Cap says, UK News in Pictures website has video of car ploughing into crowd. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, we've already mentioned Coulter's Law earlier. Call taker will ask why they want an ambulance. I'm not sure whether the call takers will know that. No, they don't. They say, what service? And they go, ambulance, please. Boom, straight through, in my experience. And I've had some experience recently. And I know that once it's directed to the emergency service, call takers in the police, not sure about the NHS, but definitely in the fire brigade. They know if somebody's fallen over or somebody's outside of grandparents' house, can see them on the floor, can't get in the house, they will ask for emergency services, and the police will say, call the fire brigade. We're on our way, call the fire brigade, because it could be a threat to life. That's why they will get there as quickly as they can, and the NHS and the ambulances, they will get there. But I'm telling you, if somebody's fallen over and you're outside as a relative and you can't get in, and they're on the floor and they've been on the floor for a while, it's a threat to life. Fire brigade, they will literally just mow down the front door and get to the person on the floor. Aidan, he says to Terry, having said that, in the week a cyclist has come off near me. 999 said, make your own way. Oy. Tough. Right, let's get into some of the other stuff that I was going to talk about. So remember, tonight's live, we just stayed agile for an hour and a half. We've talked about the horrendous incident in Liverpool, and we'll now wait for the press conference. I will monitor the BBC and I will monitor Sky. So if anybody sees the press conference starting, then give us a shout, and I'll watch it with you live and just relate it to you. Next live is tomorrow night, 7:30. So tonight and tomorrow, 7:30, and then Wednesday at 8 o'clock, as per usual, Sunday and Wednesday. I have got some questions that I wanted to ask tonight. I think they can probably wait until tomorrow. I'm monitoring the Lucy Letby case, just to see. Okay, we'll leave the okay, Neil Cunningham, thank you. Chief Constable to make statement shortly. Kim Johnson MP also to speak. It won't be a long press conference. They may take some questions. But if you want to stay with the channel, then we'll do that. We'll monitor that press conference, that presser. But I'm going to start asking a few questions. My first question tonight is a very simple one. It's 1 for yes, 2 for no. I want to ask you about Lucy Letby. 1 for yes, 2 for no. 1 guilty, 2 innocent. 1 guilty, 2 innocent. Do you believe that Lucy Letby is either guilty or innocent? Because I'm monitoring the story. There seems to be a lot of thank you, Nicholas. Very interesting, because they've not. There's been some goings on in the media around the Lucy Letby case, and I will say, just responding to all of the votes this evening, that there's more people saying innocent, 2, than guilty, 1. Sonia Poulton done a piece on the mother who was put in jail for 30 months for a tweet. Quite interesting. Ooh, I'll have a look at that, Ray. Thank you. That will be is it Lucy Connolly? And the reason I'm asking this is because initially it was one of those horrendous stories in the media, in the mainstream media. But as I was saying, there's some shenanigans been going on the last few days where other people involved, maybe some witnesses, they're having their names redacted. People are not allowed to know who they are. Yeah, Bad Wolf Project says, Lucy, this is Lucy Connolly, not Lucy Letby. Sorry, this is Lucy Letby, not Lucy Connolly. Lucy Connolly is the one that put the tweet up for 4 hours and then took it down. Lucy Letby is the nurse where there was a load of child deaths, and they attributed her to the killing of the kids. Thank you, Stuart. Great handling of tonight's incident and great interaction. I really do appreciate that. Thank you for your continued support. Burlington Bertie says it comes across as a scapegoat, but like the McCanns, it's a case of butter wouldn't melt. Well, that's why I'm asking the questions tonight, because it's Disaster area possibly speaks for quite a few people saying unsure, not sure. I have got a load of newspapers with the case in, which I've been trying to get through in amongst everything else. I see you says she wrote a letter admitting it all, because from what I've seen, there may be other people, just other people. Not even going to go down that particular rabbit hole, but I was quite shocked by the research that I did and what I was seeing. So I'm not sure she's guilty of all the things she was accused of. The Uborrel says the government will not want Lucy found innocent, for it throws the NHS into disrepute. Thank you, Stuart. Yeah, of course it will. And the doctors that work in the NHS, I've told you before, if there's that wrong with me, I'll go and try and find an answer. But if I break a leg or it's major, then obviously I've got to trust the NHS and the doctors. Beverly Allett, yes, she was another. I will say at this juncture that Terry Wookford is the same as Beverly Allett, Mad Matt UK. Yes, Beverly Allett was a nurse that was found guilty of killing children. Was it Munchausen's by proxy with Beverly Allett? You might have to go and Google that. So basically, anyone with Munchausen's by proxy wants other people to be ill, so they, as in Beverly Allett, would get the attention. So wow, really, Neil? I tried to get an interview with Lucy Letby, Adrian. Government wouldn't allow it. Oy, oy, oy. Wow, freedom of information request was declined also. Love to have a conversation with you away from this, Neil, just in case there's anything that we can't really say, because you know what the government are like. No such thing as freedom of speech in this country anymore. Les Griffiths, yes, that was Allett's diagnosis. She had Munchausen's by proxy. Interesting. So I believe that... so Lucy Letby is kind of... Yes, she wrote admitting it. That was the prosecution's main thrust. Talker69 says, I think you are right if my memory serves me correctly. Yeah, it was Munchausen's by proxy. I don't think it was Munchausen's with Lucy Letby, because they didn't really talk about that, but it definitely was with Beverly Allett. But to kind of dovetail with this, have you seen the new Fred and Rose West kind of docudrama on Netflix? And it's, I mean, I don't scare easy. I don't. Sandra Whittam, there were 2 trials that found her guilty, and she wanted the attention of a doctor who she fancied. Isn't that similar to the guy that tried to kill Ronald Reagan, the president? He did it because he wanted to... who was Clarice Starling, the actress? The guy that tried to kill Ronald Reagan wanted this actress to kind of see that he fancied her. I mean, Jodie Foster, thank you, the Bad Wolf Project. So he wanted to impress Jodie Foster by trying to kill the president because he fancied Jodie Foster. I mean, does anybody want to tell him? Not to be disrespectful, from the island of Lesbos. She wouldn't have had any interest in him, and he shot President Reagan. I mean, I think he loosed off a few other bullets around, but he tried to kill Ronald Reagan just to impress an actress. How weird, man. The management were guilty of failing to obtain adequate maintenance for the plumbing in the ward. Interesting English bottle cap. Des Ashton, was there prima facie evidence? Who for, Des? Lucy Letby. Well, as somebody said, she wrote a letter. Thank you, Neil. Look forward to it. I see you, says Sandra. That's right. She had an affair with a doctor. Well remembered, Neil Cunningham. John Hinckley, of course. He was trying to impress Jodie Foster. I mean, at the time, I mean, was she Clarice Carter? No, that would have been in the 80s, because Ronald Reagan was kind of president for the whole of the 80s. And then Clarice didn't appear till... Oh, no, she might have done. Yeah, might have done. The Silence of the Lambs was out in the 80s. But this thing on Netflix, if you have the facility to watch it, what this documentary on Netflix has done is it's used actual police video footage of Fred West, and it's used the interview audio of the interviews with Fred West, not necessarily Rose West. And I know she was found guilty and she's inside and not going to get out ever, I wouldn't think. Oh, you see, that changes the context. It's interesting how memory can affect people in different ways. Rusty's Roaming says, yes, the letter you speak of was a therapy exercise, not a confession. Stuart, it's the Fred and Rose West story. I don't know what it's called, actually, but it's Netflix. It's number one in Netflix, because everybody loves a bit of... true crime. And it's a docudrama. He's in it in police footage, and he's diddly. He's only cockeyed. I mean, him and Sir Keir Starmer could have had a bum fight, because they were about the same height. Evil is. And so you see him being shown around by the cops, and Rose West is kind of in it but not in it. And Fred West, in these interview audio tapes, tried to protect Rose West. And then, I see you, I'm with you. Fred and Rose West sends shivers down my spine, because she was 15 when he met her, when he was 27. And he murdered his first wife and murdered his first child, Charmaine. And they only found out when he admitted to it, because they disappeared in the 70s, 71, and nobody knew. That was before the 9 bodies they found in 25 Cromwell Street. No wonder they wanted to pull that house down. Fred and Rose West, thank you, Terry. Fred and Rose West, a British horror story, and it is proper. I mean, it just makes you feel grubby after watching it. And I thought, I need to have a shower after that. I just need to get this shit off me, because it is both harrowing. Thank you, Stuart. It's 3 1 hours, and the first one was the most for me. And I can tell you what it is, because the case was all over the media. There's no spoilers in there, other than you listen to the audio and you listen to Fred West tell you in his own voice. They're not made up, it's not actors, it's proper audio from him saying, being interviewed by the police, by the DCs. They reckon there may be many more victims. He did say at the end that it hasn't all come out. He was not confessing to anything, but he said to his son it hasn't all come out. So for the 70s and the 80s, I mean, they were... she was on the game. He sent her out. She was on the game, seemingly quite enjoyed it. And then he was just telling her what to do and how to do it. And he said he didn't want Rose West knowing what he was doing. So he sent her out to kind of go dancing with other men while he was killing other people. And he was killing kids. I mean, I think Charmaine was 7 or 8 year old when he murdered her. So he murdered her mother first, and then he murdered her, and then buried them. And it was only because he went, oh, yeah, Terry says, yeah, he built a good patio, though, did Fred. Anyone who used him admitted he was a fantastic landscaper. Of course he was. He had all the bloody practice, Terry. And he took them to an old house where he lived. Before he met Rose, he took them to an old house and marked, and he said, they're under there. And they found the bodies. So, what, last count, 14 or 12? I think there was 9 under the floors and the patios in 25 Cromwell Street. And there was one girl who lived with them, who he does pieces to camera and interview to camera, and she was like, I am so lucky. You know, I there was something about them, I don't know what it was, but she was a tearaway. So she was, and then Heather, yeah, and Heather was only 13, 14-year-old. I mean, again, Les Griffith says, Harold Shipman sickened me. He worked in the local hospital where I lived in the 1970s. Yeah, remember the Shipman story. It's scary, but it's true. He was known for the area as he was professional as a contractor. Ed Gein was the same. Yeah. Fred was a great brickie. His family were in fireplaces for decades. Tone dial. One skeleton of a child had a foreign object between the thighs. Oi, 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 oi. He murdered his ex in a field too. Yeah, Phil Levan, that's what I was saying. So his first wife, he murdered her, and then once he'd murdered her, he murdered his daughter, Charmaine. And in this audio, they're asking him, how could you dismember a body so quickly, as in Heather, before burying her? Because professionals, butchers or the like, doctors, surgeons, say it would take hours and hours and hours to dismember a human body. And he was like, oh, no, half an hour. And the DCs knew that he'd killed other people because he was too skilled at dismembering of a body. So that's how, but it was only because he thought Rose was going to, from what they say in these documentaries, and he admitted Rose was there with him. Bit like Myra and Ian Brady. Myra Hindley and Ian Brady. Rose was with Fred when he was up to stuff. But he was trying to protect Rose so that she didn't go into hospital. And it was only when something happened and he thought that Rose had dobbed him in. The cops were very clever. He thought Rose had dobbed him in. And so he decided, fuck you. So he just fessed up to everything, thinking she was going to get it. But his son went to see him and he said, no, they're not going to find the others. There's more bodies, but I'll take those with me to my grave. And he killed himself, hung himself in the cell, didn't he? Neil Cunningham, they tried to sell Cromwell Street, but they found, oh, dear me. Terry Wookford, wrong one, Neil. Depends what sort of behaviour will stop penetrative sexual acts, but not control type abuse. Oh, that's in response to I see you. Would chemical castration prevent the sort of behaviour? I doubt it. Yeah. Shipman was a trained boxer. I kind of get the I'm trying to be proportionate and appropriate on this live, and all the gags are coming out now. I mentioned Fred West. You can, but this, if you have the facility to see it, if you've got access to Netflix, then it's worth a watch. There was not much that I didn't already know about the case, but it is the callousness, it's the coldness of Fred West and the way that he uses his wording and stuff. He protected Rose West as much as he could, and it was only when he thought he'd been betrayed that he just like, oh, there you go, have her, do what you want with her. And that's why she was tried. And Les Griffiths, the scene in the movie McVicker where chance of sex case, hang him as a prisoner descended stairs, was based on Ian Brady whilst in is that Derry? Is that not Durham jail? Is that really? Interesting. I have to have a look at that. Or Ian Brady was I think Fred West was, he's probably our most prolific serial killer in this country. I mean, maybe Alec and Lucy Letby and the kids, there was quite a few of them, but I think that Fred West was just horrible. I mean, horrible and evil. And how some of these young women didn't get the evil that was in him. There was loads of women wanting sex with him, having sex with Rose and him, and it was all very, very turgid. But Les, let me tell you my little story, because I love it, about McVicker. So John McVicker was proper gangster, hard man, just took care of business. He was he's dead now, so I can say he's probably an executioner for the OCGs. So I was working for Fired in London on Brompton Road. So Harrods is one side of Brompton Road. On the other side was Fulham Football Club, Liberty 963, which I was part of the management team, and Punch, the magazine. And Fired was building a couple of flats on top of the building that we were in. I think it was 7 stories tall. I think we were 7th. And then he was building some flats and access to the flats on the top of the building. And John McVicker worked for Punch. He was a writer. He reformed and gone journalism, became quite a well-respected journalist. So I'll finish this story, Phil. I'll go and respond to some of the comments. And so I'm going into work, and it's the summer of '97 before Diana died, and it was roasting. I mean, it was roasting in that building and outside. It was London, so I walk in and I get into the lift, and 2 workies are in there. You all right, lads? Yeah, all right then. Just, passing pleasantries of the day, because it was they had the high vis and all their stuff on, but it was roasting, and all of a sudden there was a hand came through the lift doors as they were closing. Hand came through the lift doors, and then they pushed the doors open, and it was this very, very, beautiful woman in a summer dress, like see-through summer dress, and she got into the lift and turned around and pressed floor 5, I think it was, where Punch was. And these 2 workies, hello, darling, hello, go, I'd love to give you one. Rah, 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 rah. Now remember, this is on the ground floor. Rah, 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 rah. Marks out of 2, I'd give you one. All the usual worky malarkey. The lift goes up to the 2nd floor, and I'm thinking, that's unusual. The lift doors open, and who walks into my lift? The specialist at fighting in tight, contained spaces, John McVicker, and he was no height. I mean, he was 20 feet wide. Might have only been 5 foot odd tall, but fuck me, these workies still went for it. They still, hello, darling. Oh, I'll see your nipples. Yeah, blimey, we're on the 7th floor. Want to come and I'll give you one. John McVicker's standing there in front of these 2 morons while they're saying this, and I'm thinking, fuck, I'm going to die. I am going to die. John McVicker, he knows his way around tight spaces. He can take these 2 out before they've even realised it's John McVicker. The woman, I must tell you, was his partner. So that's why he would have kicked off with these 2 workies saying, oh, darling, oh, see your nipples, come up to the 7th floor with us. We'll give you one. Marks out of 2. And I'm like, they're cracking chubby gags. And John McVicker didn't flinch. Didn't flinch. The lift went up to the 5th floor. It felt like an eternity. I mean, it felt like a lifetime. But we went up to the 5th floor. The lift doors opened, because I didn't know what John McVicker was in there for. I eventually met him properly, was introduced, and spoke to him. I didn't tell him about that incident in the lift. And the woman and John McVicker walked out the lift. Lift doors closed. I turned around and went, you fucking morons. Oh, sorry, mate. Oh, just workies. All right, mate. Bit of that, Dick Van Dyke. And I was like, mate, do you know who he is? No. I said, well, I'm glad that you didn't. I'm glad that you didn't find out who it was, because I would have been in amongst that. At least 2 people would have died in this lift. McVicker's not around anymore. He died a few years ago. I mean, I met him later that year, after Diana died, 97. Either end of 97, beginning of 98, because he was still downstairs writing for Punch. And I wandered down to see the managing director of Fulham Football Club and Punch and stuff, because we're all in the same building. But that moment, John McVicker walked into that lift that I was standing in. Literally, my backside, 50p sixpence, 50p sixpence. How am I going to get out of this? We're in a lift. the doors are closed, and these two morons want to having a dance with his missus. The police van that the driver was put into. Thank you, Nicky Watson. Its number was MP33. It's just an identifier. Didn't Roger Daltrey play McVicker? He did Disaster Area very well. I thought he was brilliant at it. Nicholas says, do a vote for immediate reform of the death penalty. Yes, for me. Bring it back as soon as possible. All right. I'll ask everybody. You know what it is? It's 1 for yes, 2 for no. Death penalty. An eye for an eye. Should we have the death penalty back on the statute books? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Nicholas is asking the question. Should we have the death penalty back on the books? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Terry Wookford says McVicker died in 2022, cancer. I think you might be right, Terry. His partner laughed it off. They were just workies, but they were working their ticket, as the phrase goes. It's mixed, you know. Bring back the death penalty. Dale Steele has a very interesting comment. Too many innocent people died. You see how... I mean, if it's a straight open and shut case, there would have to be caveats. Lots of people saying yes, but lots of people saying no. That's possibly why it's not on the statute books, because of A, what Dale's saying, and B, what people feel about it. It's not a straight hang 'em and flog 'em. That used to be the Conservatives, by the way. It was always hang 'em and flog 'em. Did you know Blair took away the death penalty for traitors? I wonder why, says Topper69. Oh, I think we'll get that. Oh, by the way, as a little aside, something came up in the live last night around a Lord sitting in the Commons. Now, the Lord can, in certain circumstances, but if he's to be the leader of the political party, they have to have been elected. They can't just wander into the House of Commons and just take up a job on the front bench. They have to be elected. So, as much as David Cameron was foreign minister and was kind of front bench, not prime minister, you got to be elected. Finger me was a names if they're banged the rights. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see if we ever had that. But you know, people that are killing kids, I'm all for the death penalty. I wouldn't muck about. I would just go, yeah. I'll happily pull the trap floor, hang them. Wow, I see you. They hung a kid for stealing bread years ago. I think we're a little bit more evolved now, don't you? I see you. I would hope that there would be some humanity for misdemeanors like that. But anybody that's found guilty of killing children, and like Fred West, Fred West was banged to rights, 9 in the house alone, and then his ex-wife and missus, and then somebody else. So there's at least 12. He's admitted to more than that, but he's never told the police. Interesting. Mad Matt UK says, I say 2 because you cannot bring them back if they are found innocent later on. DNA improves, methinks. There was a debate about the death penalty on GB News. Really, Stuart? Interesting. The Victorians knew about prison discipline. Oh, I'm sure they did. Ask Frank Boff. He paid good money for it. Jackie Glasgow, 2, not with Starmer in control. That is a very good point. Jesus, can you imagine how many of us he'd put to death? He wouldn't mug about either. Finger me was a names. We would queue to pull the lever. I'm sure we would. Kid killers, Vixtex, absolutely. Kaz, David Cameron had to answer questions in the Lords as not elected as an MP. That is right, Kaz. So if they're elected, they can stay in the Commons, but he has to answer a Lord like, hang on, Liverpool star breaks silence after devastating parade. Have we had any presses from the Bobbies? No, nothing on BBC. Let's just refresh. What was I saying there? I think I'd hang on. I'd finished right. So there is a difference between arrest and charged. Police have cordoned off the scene. Air ambulance crews working closely with emergency services, of course, to get them to hospital quickly. This story will develop overnight. It'll be the mainstream media newspapers will have. It'll be full of this. It's a horrible. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the live tonight. All of the stuff that I've got here, I will use tomorrow or tomorrow night's live, because it can wait 24 hours. Other than, have you seen Macron? Macron was chinned by his husband. I mean, look, she's got a cock and balls. There's no way she ain't. And look, whatever gets you through the night. I'm not judging at all on this channel, but they opened the plane door. I don't know whether you've seen the video. They've opened the plane door. It's on my X feed, by the way, because I put it up there. They opened this door, and Macron's standing there with a bit of a grin on his face. Is that a Colombian grin? And all of a sudden, this arm with like a red suit top on kind of smacks him in the face. Whether it's a bitch slap or whether it's trying to very quickly wipe the Colombian off his nose, because we've seen him on a train doing that, Coca-Cola. But poof, in the nose. And he kind of, and then people walk in front, and then they come down the stairs. But we'll talk about that tomorrow night, because that'll develop overnight as well. That'll be in the papers tomorrow. Macron bitch slapped by his husband in a wig. So there was lots more. But we'll talk about it tomorrow in some way, shape or form. Thank you to everyone who took part in the live this evening. Thank you to everyone with their comments. And Tone Dial Man 54 arrested after car strikes pedestrians at Liverpool Football Club parade. Police said the detained man was from the Liverpool area and urged people not to speculate on the circumstances of the incident. Well, do you know something? It's really simple. Really simple. Just tell us the facts, you morons, you clowns. Just tell us the facts, because the facts are the facts. They won't affect the case. If you tell us who the man is, his background, what that might have been, we want to know first, was it a terrorist attack? That's what we want to know. That's what everybody wants to know. They want to feel safe in their beds. We want to know. So stop buggering about. You've had, blimey, 3.5 hours since the incident, and then they've not done a presser. Slaggers. Oh, is somebody writing me that press conference? Yes. Nicholas saying, still keeping an eye on the Liverpool feed. Looks like road rage. Well, it was one explanation. Starmer got me banned off X. Neil Cunningham. Did he? Twat. Oh, sorry. Didn't see my lips move. Stuart says, great as always, Adrian. Really enjoyed keeping you updated on the news and was fun to see you tomorrow night. Yeah, 7:30 Tuesday. 7:30 we'll do another live. And if there's more live reportage like tonight, I've enjoyed this. It's kind of what I've done previously in radio, not necessarily telly and or YouTube, but thank you to everyone that helped. Thank you to everyone that was there corroborating everything in the comments so we could have a sit rep, continuing rolling sit rep. Thank you, Jackie, for some hibiscus. I've run out tonight. Bloody hell, man. Thank you, Jackie. I really appreciate your support. And to everyone that's taken part, thank you for your likes. Smash the likes on the way out, you wrong-uns. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions. Please check. Seemingly, if you don't comment on any of my videos for a while, they unsubscribe you. Bastards. So make sure you just kind of, I don't know, comment on a video every now and again. Not in the comments of the actual video, but the page of the video. Just comment on there and make sure that you stay attached to the channel. But whatever you do, wherever you go, stay well. Our prayers and thoughts are with the Scousers and Liverpool and the injured and the affected tonight. It's a horrible story, event to report on, really. But you have helped tonight. Thank you very much. But most of all, thank you for your indulgence. It's always appreciated. Thank you for your continuing support. But whatever you do, don't forget the Battenberg. See you tomorrow night, 7:30. More of the same malarkey.